Hello and welcome back to Fishing Simulator 2 Sea Dream. Alright, let's pick another location, shall we? Let's try that one. Alright, here we go. There. Took me some time to figure it out again. Well, we finished our work down at the farm and decided to take a little break and come out here and do some fishing, and let's see what we catch today. Got no idea, but we'll give this a try. There we go. Alright, 2 stars, and that's a roach, and I don't know what it means. Let's see where we are. £200. That was our best fish. Okay, so this is where we're at. We got 4 stars in the 3 categories: rod, line, and bait. So it's gonna take a while, but we'll see what happens. Again, happy Mother's Day to everyone. Hope you have a great weekend, finishing up your weekend. I'm doing good. And yeah, doing some fishing. Then I gotta head back and do some game development. I hope to do some play some game dev tycoon later today, and for those of you that watched the first one, I promise I will do more talking and more explaining as to what my games are and why I'm choosing what I'm choosing. And yeah, I've got a timer on this, folks. I'm not gonna bore you with this too long, but I just wanted to come out, and it's one of those games that just kind of helps you relax. Of course, this doesn't even look like it's on the planet Earth. I don't know where I'm fishing. Kind of an outer space type look to it. But the fish seem to be normal so far, so we'll see. All right, 3 stars on that one. 30 points, okay. So Went fishing the other day with my son, my youngest son, and we got skunked. Didn't catch anything, and there were a lot of shrimpers out there. They use big, long handled nets to catch shrimp, and we actually saw them catching fish, scooping up fish in their nets, and they weren't even fishing, and we were fishing, and we couldn't catch nothing. So I told him, I said, I think next time we ought to bring nets and just fish that way. But yeah. So what's the best, what's the biggest fish you ever caught, or best fish story you got? Probably my best fish story is when I first moved to Florida back in 1978. We had a little pond behind our house, and because I love fishing so much, I built a little dock, and we'd go down there and catch bluegill and catfish. And before I moved here from California to move to Florida, I had heard about walking catfish in Florida, and of course I had never heard of any such thing, a walking catfish, and so I was bent on catching one and finding out what the world walking catfish was. And there were turtles in the pond and stuff like that, and I went down there one day, and there was an alligator down there. He was little. I mean, he was less than 2 feet long, maybe 2 feet long, somewhere in that range, but it was an alligator. I knew it was an alligator. I could tell it was an alligator. So I went and told my dad, and of course he didn't believe me because the pond was pretty small. And so he said, yeah. He said, I bet you $5 there's no gator in that pond. So of course, I have to figure out how can I catch an alligator and prove it to him. A burbot from the codfish family with 4 stars for 45 points. Wow. Nice. So anyway, I tried everything I could think of, and that frickin', I'd put bait on there and I'd cast out, and he would come up, the alligator would come up and he would grab my bobber and take off with my bobber. And then I figured, okay, well, if you're going to do that, then I'm going to put hooks up by the bobber. That didn't work. So back in the day, you used to be able to buy, I don't know if you still can, maybe you can, you used to be able to buy bacon bits. They were not bacon bits like you have now for your salads, but they were actually bacon ends. They were a box, and you could buy them, and it was just a whole bunch of pieces of bacon. And so I asked my mom if I could have some of that, and I took a bunch of it, and I just loaded up a hook so it would float. The bacon would float. The bacon fat would float. And I'm reeling, and I'm seeing the gator. He's following it in, and I'm trying to reel it in slowly so he'll take it. And he's getting closer and closer to me, and I'm like, well, I better hurry up and reel in and throw it back out and let him get back farther away from me, because he's going to grab it right in front of my face. And so I started reeling faster, and sure enough, wham, he grabs it, and I hooked him. So I dragged him out of the water, and I told my brother to run up and get a box out of the garage. And I wasn't going to put my finger in his mouth. He had his mouth open. He had a hook in it, and he was hissing and making all kinds of racket. He was not a happy camper. and I have my brother put the box on the ground, and I lifted the rod up and pulled him into the box, and I shut the flaps, and I cut the line. Figured he'd spit the hook out, and took it up to the house, and my mom and dad were gone somewhere, and I put it on the kitchen table, and I tied a string around it, and I put a note on it and told my dad, open with caution, contains live alligator. And by the way, you owe me $5. And so I waited for him to come home. Went in my room and waited for him, and I heard him come in, and he was laughing when he read the note, and he went to open the box, and the alligator's face was right in the corner of the box, ready to take his finger off, and he jumped back clear across the kitchen. He goes, "Oh my God, there's a real alligator in there." And I ran forward and shut the box, and I'm like, "Yeah, what do you think? I told you it was a real alligator." He said, "Man, I thought you had put a rubber alligator or something in there. I didn't think there was a real alligator." I said, "By the way, you owe me $5." So he gave me 10 because he said that he kept all his fingers. So yeah, that's my big fishing story. So yeah, I've had others, but that's still my favorite. The alligator that didn't exist. We let him go, by the way, because in Florida you have to have special permits to hunt alligators, and back then you couldn't even hunt them. They were protected completely. Just recently that they started limiting the amount of hunting can do because of the population got pretty big. $30 points. All right, let's take a quick look at our. No, that's not what I want. Take a quick look at that one. All right, we got 166 points. So we're going to upgrade our rod. And we're going to do a little bit more fishing here. And then we're going to head on back to the farm and go in the garage and start developing more video games for Gray Games Inc. for Game Dev Tycoon. So yeah, the Gray Gamer is going to figure out how to make his millions in the gaming industry. I've had a little bit of help behind the scenes on that. My son is actually playing and giving me some tips, not only on how to make better videos, but actually how to get better ratings on the game. Doesn't mean they'll work for me, just means that he's trying. So yeah, and those of you that have been waiting for some videos for our Minecraft Feed the Beast, the misadventures of Tips and Gray with me and Tipsy Drifter, he's one hard guy to nail down for getting time to record, and definitely this weekend is not a good time for him because of being Mother's Day and him working in the restaurant industry. He's a cook, chef, whatever. I'm not sure what they call him at a restaurant. And so yeah, they're really busy this weekend with being Mother's Day weekend. And you know, noontime, which is what time it is now, local, my time, is when everybody takes their mother out to dinner. And he says that used to hold true, but now people are taking their mothers out to dinner the night before. They're taking them out to breakfast. They're taking them out to late meals. So, yeah. The one thing about the state of Florida, my dad told me this when we first moved here, was that Florida is the land of the newlyweds and the nearly deads. Now, as I get older, I don't have the same appreciation for that joke that I did back then. But one of the benefits of being in Florida is that with the elderly population that we have, I'm not going to put myself in that category. But the nice thing is if you want to go anywhere or do anything, wait until after it gets dark, because then most of the elderly are not on the road. They don't like to drive at night, etc., etc. So the best time to go places and get a seat or a parking spot or what have you is after it gets dark. And of course, in the spring like it is now, it gets dark later and later, and so you got a red fin for 2 points. Woohoo! All right, people, I'm gonna go ahead and take a break from this, and when the next I talk to you, we'll be doing it with from our desk in the garage back at the farm. And Tycoon Game Dev Tycoon. This is the Gray Gamer on Fishing Simulator 2 Sea Dream. And we did upgrade our pole, our rod, and we're working towards upgrading our line next. So yeah, we'll catch you next time.